a quarantine edition of the Wine Junkie. This is the first episode of Wine Junkie in 3 years, and we are doing this from my house. You may hear my dogs, you may hear my kids, you may hear my neighbor weed whacking. Anyway, as I mentioned, this is the first episode of the Wine Junkie we've done in 3 years. That's right, I did 4 episodes of the Wine Junkie 3 years ago and just kind of got put on the back burner and never came back to it. This was me then. This is me this morning with quarantine hair. And here I am today, a little bit thinner, a little bit more gray. But here I am at my pinnacle of balance, of flavor, and tannic structure. Wow. So as I mentioned, this is the Wine Junkie, and I'm Adam, also known as the Wine Junkie. I am the general manager and sommelier at Savannah Bistro in Kennett Square. I just love wine, I love tasting wine, I love talking about wine, I love teaching about wine. And that is sort of why I started doing the Wine Junkie shows to begin with. We're on quarantine now, but also Savannah Bistro had a really catastrophic fire in January. Basically, we have to scrap the building and start over. We will be back. We have every intention of rebuilding. We're in the process right now. But in the meantime, we're spending our time trying to find ways to enrich ourselves and our team and find ways to rebuild our structures. The neighbor's weed whacking again. This guy, it's been weed whacking for like 2 hours. Of course he is. Anyway, we decided while we were on quarantine, while the restaurant was closed, we would do an episode of the Wine Junkie and see how it went. Actually, we're going to do 2 episodes for sure, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll do a few more. Anyway, we decided in this first episode of the Wine Junkie and the second, we were going to feature some wines that are our absolute favorites. These are wines that we've had on the menu literally, I think, since day 1 of having our liquor license and our wine list. This is the Row 11 Venus 3. Yes. We are also going to be tasting today the Row 11 Russian River Valley. We've got new vintages on both of these. The Venus 3 is the 18 and the Russian River Valley is the 19. I'm going to taste both of these separately and I'm going to kind of compare and contrast. This winery is in California. They focus predominantly on Pinot Noir, but they do have Cabernet, as well as some other varietals that they blend. Really big fans of these guys. They've been on our menu for so long, and a lot of our guests love the Venus 3, which is where we're going to start today. I've got my giant glass. Thank you, Janine. Shout out. This is the Row 11 Venus 3 2018 vintage. This is a new vintage for them. What I'd like you to know about this wine, it's really actually very cool. The Venus 3 2018 is sourced from 3 different vineyards. That's Venus 3 different vineyards. So in the north you have Sonoma, in Russian River Valley specifically, but Sonoma. Then we have Monterey, kind of in the middle, and Santa Barbara County in the south. And each one of those AVAs, American Viticultural Areas, are going to give you a little bit of a different flavor, a little bit different style, structure, intensity, things like that. So you can take a little bit of wine from this area, and a little bit of wine from this area, a little bit of wine from that area, and blend it to make a specific style, the way that you want to. It's sort of like an artist, mixing paint to get the color or the texture that they want to. There we go, that's a good one. So we have Sonoma in the north, which is going to give you some of that nice juicy acidity, a little bit more structure, as well as some earthier tones, maybe mushroom, forest floor, leaves, things like that. And you have Monterey, which is kind of in the middle. This is going to give you sort of the mid-palate, some weight and a little bit of that fruitiness. And then you're going to go down to Santa Barbara, and that's going to be one of the warmer growing regions, especially for Pinot Noir in California. You're going to get a little bit more ripeness of fruit. That's going to give you a little bit more body, a little bit more fullness and weight to it. It's also going to maybe give it a little bit more alcohol, which is going to also give you the impression of weight on the palate. A lot of more fruitiness that comes from that as opposed to that earthiness that you're going to get in Sonoma. Give it a sniff. Really pretty. This is beautiful. It smells wonderful. Very pretty. Some floral notes in there. A little bit of that earthiness in there. Some mushroom. Again, they're focused on the style. You're looking for a richer, fuller style. I always tell people when they order this in the restaurant, this is a bigger style than a lot of Pinots you've had. It's got some structure, it's got a lot of intensity of fruit, it's got a bigger mouthfeel to it. It can really go with things that are sort of in between that red and white range. Chicken or a salmon or kind of a meatier fish or anything that might have some richer accompaniments to it. A little too much for a white wine, but maybe some red wines are going to overpower it. This is something that's going to get a little bit more of that play in between. Kind of a jammy, stewed fruit kind of thing going on. Cherry, Jolly Rancher, dried lavender, rose hips. Pretty, very pretty. A little bit more intense than you would normally get from a Pinot. And nice, beautiful mouthfeel. Nice and smooth. I get mocha, I get vanilla, I get some toastiness from the oak on there as well. Lots of that candied cherry, strawberry, cooked down fruit, jam, like a jamminess to it, but not over extracted. Love it, love it, love it. I miss this wine so much. Okay, so the next one we're gonna taste is sort of the older brother of this one, even though it's a younger vintage. This is the Row 11 Russian River Valley. Can you see that? There we go. Oh man, look at that color. I didn't talk about the color in the last one. The last one was like a little bit darker, a little bit more concentrated in the middle. You couldn't really see through it like you can with a normal or an average Pinot, I guess is what I would say. This one is just beautiful. It's very clear. This beautiful ruby red. So right off the bat, on the nose, very different style. It smells a little fresher as opposed to that cooked kind of stewed fruit. It smells like strawberries and cherries, but like fresh, not cooked, okay? Really beautiful. You can smell it's a little bit more juicy. My mouth is watering just from sniffing it. A little more tartness, pomegranates, red currant. Definitely moving away from those sweeter, riper fruits, the cherry, red cherry, and strawberry from the last one. This boy's got a little bit more of that kind of elegance. Something that you really want with food here. Beautiful. 100% from the Russian River Valley, which is in Sonoma. This is more of an expression of the actual place. We're taking the grapes only from this one sub-region of a sub-region in California, and we're making this wine taste the way that it should taste based on that vintage and those grapes. Also from the Dutton vineyard, if you've ever heard of Dutton Ranch, they are one of the premier Pinot Noir growing vineyards in California. This is top tier fruit. I'm getting even a little bit of like a toasty kind of caramely note on the back end. A little bit of that oakiness is coming through now. One of my favorite wine terms, autumnal undergrowth. The leaves that have fallen in the fall, they've been on the ground for a few days. It's rained a couple times and they've started to decay a little. Oh, sweet Lord. That is fan-freaking-tastic. A technical term in wine that we use. The sommeliers, we use that term. So it's echoing a lot of the things I smelled on the nose. Tart, sour fruit, pomegranate, cranberry, raspberry, red currant. Here's a good way to compare these two because they're both so good, but for completely different reasons. The Venus 3 is one that I would sip by itself. It's great with food, but between the two, I think that one I would sit outside on my front porch on a nice spring evening with a nice big glass. You know what? I know what I'm doing tonight. The Russian River Pinot is something that I would love to have a nice piece of duck with some roasted mushrooms with it. Salmon with this would be so beautiful. Cassoulet with duck would be beautiful. I really keep coming back to duck, and I wish I had duck in my house right now, but I don't. Back to the taste on this. It's like a potpourri of fresh violet, lavender, lilac, rose hips. Maybe not red rose, maybe white rose or pink rose. I know there's a difference. Really bright acidity on this too. So if you have something like a salmon or a duck that has some fattiness, that acidity is going to contrast that really nicely. Everything is super balanced, lots of juicy fruit, but also lots of earthiness, and they're very equal in this wine. Where in the last one, the fruit definitely took the front seat and was more prominent. This one, just really elegant, really pretty, delicious, absolutely delicious. Man, this is fantastic, fantastic. So that is that. We had Row 11 Venus 3, 2018, and Row 11 Russian River Valley, 2019. You can't beat it. They're fantastic, fantastic. You can get both of these in Pennsylvania. They will ship directly from the winery. Row11wines.com, check it out. I will throw the link up there, or actually the link will be below, but it's gonna print in words right there so you can see it. Love these wines, so glad that they're on my list. As I mentioned, we are gonna do another episode, maybe put it out next week. We're gonna be tasting another one of the Row 11 wine. That is going to be the Riddler, which is their red blend from California. This is gonna be a fun one. It's a riddle, so you don't know exactly what's in it. Anyway, thank you for watching. This has been the Wine Junkie. Everybody, please stay safe, and we will see you again soon. Goodbye. Hey-o! I fell off the mat there. So anyway, right, literally, like, the weed whacking continues. Anyway, back to it. Maybe I should just ask him to do my yard too, since he's literally right outside my window. He looks exhausted. Okay, stop. Okay. So there's my dog, clicking around. The wonders of recording at home. Here, Chance, come here. I'm not tricking you. We've got a very love-hate relationship, me and this dog. He looks like a puppy, but he's actually 14 years old, and he's a little terrorist. He's a jerk. Does unspeakable things to my house. Going now. Go. We'll see what happens. If I have time, I don't know. Gotta go to Home Depot. I'm not sure if I have enough time. I guess they don't have vines. Off the vine grape, but it doesn't taste like grapes. It tastes and smells like cherries and strawberries. You get what I mean, right? Strawberries have vines, I think. Anyway, where were we? 2:30 in the afternoon. We're on quarantine. I mean, bottoms up. I'm gonna throw the, maybe there? Yeah, when I took over the wine list, I didn't know what I was doing. Can you hear that? That's my son, yes. He's playing Fortnite. Hold on 1 second. Robert, you're too loud! 10 more minutes! You're too loud, I can hear you on the video. Thank you! This is my life.